Welcome to the new RiverCityGamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and Unreal 007, as well as many other members from the RiverCityGamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
Hello guys, and welcome back to the RiverCityGamers Podcast. I am not SCXCR, but I am Zero Master.
And I'm Blonde Gaber, and the reason why SCR is not here is because he's quite busy with studies at the moment.
Hello, women in yogurt commercials. It's WizWar 100. Haven't seen me in a long while.
And I'm Canadian Jutsu. You guys haven't heard from me since, Anime North videos? Yeah.
So, like Wandy said, SCR is really busy with finals and, finishing
Education.
up projects and stuff. For Japanese is hard, so that's why he's not here. But I offered to edit and take over his roles for this week so he could catch up. It's been a couple weeks actually since the podcast was going on. So yeah. Also, this is Team Canada because it's friggin' gonna be Thanksgiving for our American buddies this week, or I should say fake Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving was last month.
For us, at least.
Yeah, it's mostly due to seasonal things, though.
Yeah.
Black Friday.
Black Friday.
We still have that. Yeah, I should also mention that this podcast has been going on for about a year now.
Oh, really?
Sweet.
Yes.
Do we get a compilation of them all? Probably not.
Oh God, no.
I don't think
That would
anybody
take forever.
that. But that's one thing we can talk about: gaming news.
Gaming news, so real.
All right. Well, where do we start?
Okay, so
Fire it up.
I guess I'll go ahead and go through the articles I have here first, and then I'll let Blondie go through his. And if anybody else has an article that we didn't talk about, we can go over it. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Reasonable.
So the first thing I want to talk about is recently Crash Bandicoot has been coming up a lot, and it was thought that there was some sort of investing or something from Sony going into it, and so people thought, hey, maybe Sony bought the Crash Bandicoot series back. Well, that's not true. Activision pretty much came out and said, no, we still own it, but we're looking to make new games in the series, and because it's Activision, if they make new games, they're probably not going to be that good. So, any Crash fans out there who got excited, sorry.
It
The only
just
thing-
crashed your dreams.
The only thing that we could hope for is that Activision is only going to produce it, and the actual game development is given to another gaming company. You know, like for example, Warner Brothers own the rights to Batman, but I mean,
They don't make the games.
Yeah, they don't make the game. So hopefully we can cross our fingers and say, yay, Crash can actually have a good game made by a proper company. I mean,
Or-
Naughty Dog hasn't touched him in how long?
Because, I mean,
Whatever.
if I remember correctly, Crash and Spyro were Crash, Spyro, and to an extent Tomb Raider were series that were great on the PlayStation 1, and then all of a sudden they all got sold. And
Yes,
they
they
just
kind of went down.
Tomb Raider was multi-platform though back then.
Yeah, they just sort of had mediocre sequels, and then Spyro ended up being on the, ended up
now-
going to Nintendo for a bit, and now
You mean that Highlander game where you put the little statues on the...
Skylanders, and now
Skylander.
it's funny because my cousin
There's-
who's 8 plays Skylanders. I'm like, why Skylanders exists is because of Spyro. He doesn't know who Spyro is.
Well, he should, because
Well,
the
that's
first thing was called Spyro's Adventure, right?
Yeah, but nobody paid attention to that.
Okay.
Hey, and it was a fun game. If any of you remember...
Well, Skylanders is just a toy grab anyway.
Yeah. But anyways, the point of the matter is that Activision still owns Crash. We can only hope that they make a smart decision with the franchise, because they haven't in the last little while. So we'll see what happens.
I think most people gave up on Crash after it left PlayStation to begin with.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Blondie there. I don't think I've cared about Crash since it went elsewhere.
Well, if I remember correctly, Crash of the Titans was not that bad. Like, as a game, like, as a Crash game, like, the comedy was there. I mean,
Go review it.
the idea of giving him a voice was cool as well, but the game's gameplay was not that great, but at the same time, it's not terrible
compared to the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably the best you can really expect out of Crash from Activision at this point, though.
And it's also what else can you do with it aside from not make it stink?
Okay. Well, on from that, let's talk about stuff that is successful, because apparently consumers spent $3.45 billion on video games last quarter. This is up to 17% from the same quarter in 2012. And of course, the top-selling game of that quarter was Grand Theft Auto 5, with single-day sales at $800 million on opening day.
Yeah, that would definitely contribute to that.
Yeah.
It's funny. I kind of like that. I kind of like this for a couple of reasons. One, gaming is still thriving. That's good. Two, I'm kind of glad that Grand Theft Auto is in the top spot now and not Call of Duty anymore, because while Grand Theft Auto has sort of become Rockstar's cash cow, at least they don't release a game every year.
In other
And
words,
they actually
not
put
as
time and
stale.
effort. Yeah, they put time and effort into it. Though, even with Grand Theft Auto 5, it's like visually upgraded. There's a lot more things to do than Grand Theft Auto 4, but in all actuality, the series hasn't changed all that much since Grand Theft Auto 3.
Well, I also think too, like, it's funny because they've been having so many problems with the online stuff. Like, I hear it's better now, but I just remember, like, Unreal saying, I can't get in any matches or anything.
I saw something about that. Oh, speaking of doing things every year, did anyone see that one footage, or the footage in Call of Duty Ghosts, where they basically reuse the same animation?
They've been using the same fucking
But
for years.
they do that for like so many games. Like Resident Evil, for example, the falling down animation of people dying after you headshot them has been the same to the knees, then faceplant for the past like 4 or 5 years.
Well, I'm saying in the sense that, it's the same game every year. Now they're using the same cutscenes.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
that's how...
the thing though with Call of Duty is that it's literally like, people only buy it because it's the new Call of Duty, and everybody's going to be playing the multiplayer on that. That's why people buy it.
Competition.
Again, I brought this up before. The Black Ops 2 single player guys who made the story were pissed because nobody was playing single player. Everybody just bought it for the multiplayer, and I'm like, well, you picked the wrong franchise to, write a story for. Like, not saying that, because Modern Warfare apparently has a really good story. Again, I haven't played these games, but I've been told like Modern Warfare had a really good story, and some of the other games in the series have. But no one's really cared about the single player in a long time.
Yeah. Now that you brought that up, I did see this article, like, of the people who made a Black Ops 1, or, well, like you said, 2. They were just pissed at, like, oh, you should be invested in the story of Call of Duty, and I'm just like, I just made that face of just, like, confusion, like, really?
It's just nice to see, like, first of all, Grand Theft Auto 5, while it does have its own online modes now, it's pretty much a single-player game, or for the most part. It's nice to see that it's not, while it has an online mode, it's not, the central reason why people...
It's not the main reason you bought the game.
And the game sold incredibly well before its online features were out, so...
And not only that, it sold so much in just pre-orders alone, like before even the game came out. Like, almost like, what was it, 3 times or something that of Call of Duty? Where people were just like, oh, we'll just pick it up on day one. But no, people wanted to pre-order to make sure they had Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay, this actually might work out, because without saying where it is you work at a gaming store.
Yeah.
Do you guys do pre-orders?
Oh yeah, of course we do.
What were the pre-orders like for Grand Theft Auto 5? Do you?
For Grand Theft Auto 5, I don't remember the specific numbers for each system. I did notice that, I don't know, maybe it's just for where I work or someplace in Canada or stuff. It's just a lot of PS3 copies were pre-ordered and not so much for the Xbox. I mean, when it was sold out in a bunch of other places, like, Best Buys and Future Shops and stuff like that, we still had copies. We had like boxes of it, but we got, I think, about 200 units of each. That's 400 games on each system almost. And within, I'd have to say, about a week, they were all gone. And
wow.
about, I would say, just under about 30% of them were pre-orders.
Right.
Just to sort of put it in perspective.
That's pretty crazy to think about. All of them gone within a week. Yeah, like, because you guys aren't a huge retail store. You're a smaller store, so...
No. Yeah, exactly. And we're connected to another store where a lot of people don't realize that there's a gaming store in the back.
Right.
Like we're a video rental store. So when people come in, they come in for movies, and then they're like, "Oh, games!" And then they go and see the game. So I don't even know what our other location had with sales, but they had a lot too.
Right.
Oh, kind of like Blockbuster.
But
yeah, that's pretty much what we are.
Anyways, without going too far off, gaming is doing pretty good right now. Let's hope it stays that way. And let's hope, my only hope too is that Rockstar doesn't see this as an opportunity to release a GTA every freaking year now.
I don't think they would even be able to.
They would be.
It's kind of too massive of a game, sort of.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, anyways, moving on. So for anybody who's been a fan of id Software, and I mean, if you've played a PC FPS in the last 25 years, you probably have been. John Carmack has finally left id because it's to focus on working on the Oculus Rift. I kind of saw this coming, actually, because he's been doing a lot of stuff with the Oculus Rift, and I mean, he's been the face for id, but I don't know how much he actually does for the company. The official statements for it said that, him leaving doesn't affect any of the projects. Pretty much anything that they were working on, he finished his part of the work of it before he left. So, and I think they were anticipating that he was going to leave because of all his work with the Oculus Rift. How I personally feel about this, I'm just like, I'm not a huge id guy, but I like Doom, I like Quake, I grew up with Quake 2. I figured he would leave id eventually, but
Hey, those were actual shooters.
Like, not. I didn't think he'd leave for the Oculus Rift, but I can see why he did, because he sort of wants to focus more on the hardware, not the software, and he's expressed that for a while now. So, I don't know. How do you guys feel about John Carmack leaving id Software?
It's his decision.
I think it's interesting that he's working on the Oculus Rift because it's someone who worked on some of the most successful first-person shooters of, back in the 90s. So it'd be interesting to see what of someone who worked on games like that would pioneer into this Oculus Rift.
I mean, definitely, like, the Oculus Rift is going to be, like, a big thing for first-person games, but, I mean, it's apparently been used for a whole bunch of other games, too, in development, so, I don't know. I've been interested in the Oculus Rift, but, I mean, it's probably going to be, like, a $400 add-on, so I don't see myself getting one anytime soon, but, I mean, if he's going to be on full-time on the development now, we could see, it'd be, having an actual developer working on the hardware might be good. Because they're the people that have to program for it. Like, could you imagine, like, if actual studios, like, helped make, like, something like the Kinect, how much better it would be? Right? What do you think, CJ?
Well, what a lot of developers would have been like, whatever, we're not going to build something for the Kinect because it's not viable as a gaming system. But this Oculus Rift thing seems really interesting, but at the same time, I mean, we throw developers and good developers at this type of stuff, and like, are we gonna have to start saying, oh well, now it's John Carmack's, he's the one that left to do it and it fails or it doesn't work properly or whatever, and it isn't the next advancement that we're looking at. Like, I mean, programmers are programmers, developers are developers, and people that make hardware are people that make hardware. They engineer this type of stuff. I mean,
the thing though you have to remember is it's like software creators have to deal with the hardware too. So having somebody who's dealt with the software for years have a leg in it, I think is a good idea, because then they know what they're getting into.
Yeah. Are you sure he's not writing the software for?
No. He said
the hardware?
He's working on the hardware aspects. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, I don't know the full details of his work on it, but he's pretty much been talking about hardware for the most part. So, It sounds to me like he's more focused on the hardware end than anything else. And I mean, again, like, just as an example, I have a buddy who used to work for Microsoft, and when Vista came out, all the software developers were told, okay, you guys are going to get 6 months to develop, here's the hardware, or here's the software for it, and you're going to get 6 months to develop drivers for all your hardware and stuff. And then a couple weeks later, they came back and said, oh, you got 6 weeks. So, basically, Microsoft dropped the ball on that one. And that's just an example of, like, the developers having to throw their hands up and be like, shit, what do we do? So...
And as for him leaving id and what it would do for id, I don't know. It's sort of like if Cliff Bleszinski left Epic, you know, like they're figureheads. Yeah. And did it destroy? Did it destroy everything? I don't think so.
Don't.
Well, I mean, again, id has come out and said that him leaving hasn't affected anything, and anything he worked on is already completed. So
yeah, but.
The last game that it did was Rage, I think. So, I am a bit curious to see what their next game is going to be.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens now that he's not with id anymore, because both Johns are now gone from there. So,
what direction will it take?
Yeah. All right. So the next little thing I guess we'll talk about is there's a lot of Persona games announced.
By wonderful Atlas.
Yeah, so Persona 5 has been confirmed for the PS3. There's just a teaser about being slaves. I don't... Persona's weird. I'm just gonna say that. And that I don't get it, but I'm sure it'll make sense in the coming year. So, we'll see what happens. But that's only been confirmed for Japan so far, but I mean, with the popularity of Persona overseas, it's pretty much guaranteed to come out here. And it's going to be on the PS3, interestingly enough. It hasn't been announced for anything else yet. So,
yeah. Well, it's found its home. It's found its home on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. But I thought it's interesting that it's not on PS4, or even maybe I don't know. Maybe
yeah. Well, the development for the PS3 is still in high gear. We've got quite a lot of PS3 games still coming out, and even for the 360 too. Like Dark Souls 2 is a good example of something that you're like, oh, why don't they put that on next gen? Well, no, it's halfway through development probably already.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah,
like
it's still relevant.
So
it's not like it's out.
So anyways, Persona 5, that's confirmed for winter 2014 for Japan. Persona Q, Shadow of the Labyrinth, which is basically a chibi crossover game between Persona 3 and Persona 4. That looked interesting. Again, I don't know anything about Persona.
Yeah, there's not very much information about it.
But it's a 3DS title. It's supposed to be coming out in Japan on July 5th, it looks like. July 5th? Yeah, I think that's right. I could have that wrong. June 5th. I always get those 2 months mixed up. So, yeah, that's a thing, and it looks kind of cool. I mean, I picked up... I'm going to be completely honest with you. When it comes to Shin Megami Tensei, I really only care about the core series. I mean, I have Shin Megami Tensei 4 for 3DS, and I was like, holy crap, a regular Shin Megami Tensei game actually came out.
Oh, funny you mentioned that. I own all the other Shin Megami Tensei games and not the core games except for 4.
Yeah.
Because that was also good. But, yeah, I need to catch up on some of them. But they're all really good. Atlas has become kind of one of my companies I'd go towards to play their games.
Yeah, pretty much because of, like, the stuff they've been releasing. Atlas has pretty much been one of those companies where, like, oh, there's a new game by Atlas. Well, looks like I'm buying that one. So
they've got Rare syndrome going on right now. They seem to be able to tackle all types of genres of games
and make it good.
Make it good. Like, I mean, they actually had help when they did Persona 4 Arena to make a fighting game. Things like, was it Odin Sphere? No. Yeah, well, Odin Sphere, Dragon's Crown. That's the one I'm thinking of. Like a beat 'em up, and it haven't had a good beat 'em up.
That was
forever.
published by Atlas. Villainware made that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Atlas publishes good games too, so.
Yeah.
They know how to pick them.
Persona 4 Arena, the update for that was announced as well. The update or sequel, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That was announced, so that's a thing. And there's also going to be Persona rhythm dancing game. So
One of these things is not like the other.
So,
Oh,
you
God,
people out
really?
there who really like Dance Central, be prepared.
I mean, everybody's always liked that sort of.
sorry,
jazzy reggae
not Dance
music,
Central,
right?
Just Dance. If you like Just Dance, you can do Persona here.
Wait. So it's a Persona dancing game.
I
Jeez.
think it's more like the Vocaloid games.
Yeah,
probably.
that's what I. Yeah.
Oh, if that's the case, then yeah, there's a market for that. I can totally
Okay.
see it. Yeah, but if it's like actual dancing, I'd love to see how they make this different.
Okay, so the last article I'm gonna go over, and then I'll throw it over to Blondie because he has some stuff. The nominees for the the Video Game Awards 2013, because VGX I guess sounds cooler, have been announced. Are you guys ready for this?
Oh, I'm stoked.
All right, Game of the Year: BioShock Infinite, Grand Theft Auto 5, Super Mario 3D World, The Last of Us, and Tomb Raider.
I'm voting for Super Mario 3D World. I really like Tomb Raider. I thought Tomb Raider was actually pretty sweet. Last of Us was great as a story game, and the gameplay was okay, but I don't want to play it again because there's no reason to play it again.
Right.
See, that's where you're.
I have a feeling a lot of people are going to go for BioShock Infinite because
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be more like Grand Theft Auto 5.
well, Grand Theft Auto 5 is probably going to win because I mean,
Yeah, I predict Grand Theft Auto 5 is probably gonna
if
win.
Grand Theft Auto 5 hadn't come out, BioShock Infinite probably would have had a chance.
Yeah.
Well, I think actually if all was fair in the world, we would give Game of the Year to something like BioShock Infinite, and then Rockstar North would get Best Company or Best Studio.
Speaking of that leads into the next category, Studio of the Year: Irrational Games, Naughty Dog, Rockstar North, and Fulbright Company. Any of those Japanese?
I don't think so, no.
Well,
No,
that's
no.
expected.
It's an American show. What do you expect?
Well, there's
Diversity?
Japanese game in Game of the Year, so. Okay, well, anyways. And now a category I'm pretty sure no one cares about. Best Shooter. Battlefield 4. BioShock Infinite, question mark?
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter.
It is. It counts.
Call of Duty
And it has an
Ghosts, and Metro Last Light. I can tell you what I hope doesn't win. Roasts.
Yeah.
It's probably going to go to BioShock.
Probably.
From the options, yeah. Metro Last Light might come second.
Alright, so best action adventure game: Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Grand Theft Auto 5, The Last of Us, and Tomb Raider. So, with the exception of Assassin's Creed 4, it's pretty much stuff that was in the Game of the Year category.
Yeah, didn't that just come out?
Assassin's Creed 4, yeah.
Oh,
And not too long ago.
every video game awards always have games that just come out like as before it.
Alright.
Crap.
Yeah, because remember, reviews are usually written about 2 weeks before the game comes out. Plus they have a week embargo, right? Before, so they can release reviews unless they're Colonial Marines.
Alright.
But
Another category nobody cares about. FIFA Best Sports Game.
Oh.
14. MLB 13 The Show. NBA 2K14. NHL 14. It's not 2014 yet, by the way.
well,
Wait,
no,
wait, wait,
sports
what a-
games, they're like cars.
Yeah.
Sports games are like cars.
Wait, where's Cycling Manager 2014?
It should be on there.
Do they even make us for 2014 for that?
They probably would.
We just got Farming Simulator 2014 for consoles. I was quite taken
Are
back.
you gonna pick it up?
It's $60. No.
Just wait for it to go on sale on Steam.
Yeah.
Alright.
No. Just go play Harvest Moon. You'll get the same thing, but better.
Don't get him started on Harvest Moon.
Anyway, enough about farming simulators. One thing I should know about the best sports game, Madden's not on there.
Well, that's good.
Oh.
So it'll probably go to FIFA or NHL or something.
Well, maybe it's being more independent, like the best independent game.
Well, actually, I don't think it's fair to put Madden up there because EA has the exclusive rights to NFL. So it's like there's no competition, right?
Hey, CJ, thanks for screwing up my segue.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Maybe I was being an independent thinker, Zero.
Okay, you know what? You should Gone Home, Kentucky Route Zero, Papers, Please, and the Stanley Parable. I haven't played any of those. Don't really have an opinion on any of them.
I only know of a couple of them.
Best RPG, Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, Fire Emblem Awakening, Ni no Kuni, Wrath
God damn it!
Witch, Pokemon X and Y.
Either Fire Emblem or Pokemon.
I kind of see Fire Emblem or Pokemon taking it.
See,
Final Fantasy
14?
I've heard a lot about Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, but I think a lot of people are still like, the first release of Final Fantasy XIV was bad, so they've kind of been snake-bitten about it.
It's not really an RPG though. It has more MMO parts to it. It's like if World of Warcraft was up there, you know. It's not really a role playing.
Well, there's no MMORPG category, so
it's not as much of a adventure game. It is, but not quite. It doesn't fall quite there. It leads to it. But
It's
yeah,
also
I would say Fire Emblem Awakening, even though I didn't get to fucking play it.
Oh boy, best fighting game, Dive Kick, Injustice, Gods Among Us, Killer
wait.
Instinct,
Rewind.
KI.
Tekken Revolution.
KI.
What was the second one?
I just laughed that Dive Kick was the first option.
Wait, what was the second one you were laughing at?
Injustice.
Oh, I can kind of see that.
I hope Dive Kick wins.
Well, CJ, something like Injustice has more than 6 characters, so it's probably going to go to Injustice.
But remember how broken Injustice is. A game that you would think that, you know, hand-to-hand fighters have absolutely nothing against people with range, where the meta game is about keeping someone away rather than actual combos and fighting.
Well, I haven't played Injustice, but I can already tell you that...
Guys, I don't mean to break up your argument, but there's a lot of categories, and the news segment has been going on for pretty long, so I'm just going to continue on with Best Driving Game. F1 2013, Grid 2, Forza Motorsport 5, Need for Speed Rivals. Anybody have anything to say about those?
Where's Gran Turismo? Or did I just fucking fall asleep for that?
Gran Turismo,
I think Gran Turismo 6 comes out after.
Oh yeah. I heard.
Everybody's favorite category, especially Capcom's. Best DLC. Borderlands.
Except there's no Capcom DLC.
Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep. Dishonored, The Knife of Dunwall. Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon.
Okay, yeah, that
3,
just...
Citadel. Blood Dragon, that's all I'm saying.
is Blood Dragon DLC though?
It
I thought
is.
it was a standalone game.
It is. It's both. It's a DLC and
It is.
a standalone game.
Oh, okay.
So you're not wrong on either point, but yeah, it is. And yeah, totally getting it.
It's probably going to go to that.
Alright, Best Xbox Game, and I'm sure only one of these games is actually an exclusive.
Actually, none of them are exclusive.
Bioshock Infinite, Brothers,
Nope.
A Tale of Two Sons, Grand Theft Auto 5, Tomb Raider.
Nope.
And Best PlayStation Game, only one is an exclusive. Grand
Oh.
Theft Auto 5, Rayman Legends, The Last of Us, Tomb Raider.
We'll go to The Last of Us probably.
Probably.
Yeah, being that it's an actual... It's like...
As an actual PlayStation game.
Exactly. It's kind of
I'm
like...
surprised they threw in Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. That's a downloadable game.
Yeah,
And it was featured in Summer of Arcade, but I think it was ported to PSN afterwards. So
Alright, well, Best Nintendo Game, Pikmin 3, Rayman Legends, Super Mario 3D World. Yes! The Wonderful 101.
Why is Pokemon not there?
it's
Like
well,
what?
No, it's Best Nintendo Wii U game. They just called it Best Nintendo Game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Best console.
There's still a Best Handheld category.
Okay, good.
Alright,
Oh, that's
don't get ahead of me, because now we're talking about PC. Best PC Game, Battlefield 4, Gone Home, Papers, Please, and The Stanley Parable.
3 out of 4 of those are from Independent Game too, by the way.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Well, I mean, with the Humble Bundles now...
Oh yeah, they're great.
PC has really exploded in that. The indie scene has exploded on PC, I mean. But anyways, Best Handheld Game, Animal Crossing New Leaf, Pokemon X and Y, Tearaway, and The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds.
Yes.
Yes. All of those. I want them all to win. They're actually all fantastic.
What was the third one?
Tearaway. It's the Vita game.
Yeah.
Tearaway.
And it's not going to win at all
Yeah,
against
by
these
the-
3DS games.
The people that made Little Big Planet made Terraway, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Oh, made Little Big Planet. Okay, you just
All right. Our favorite genre, best casual game: Animal Crossing: New Leaf, Disney Infinity, Plants vs Zombies 2, It's About Time, Skylander Swap Force.
I'm going with the third one because I got New Leaf, but my sister has it and I played it, and it's like I can't really stand more. It's not bad. It's just I can't really get much out of it.
It's a game that you're supposed to play daily, rather not like once a day, rather than like for a long period of time.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, which is
Disney
my thing.
Infinity really shouldn't be up there.
I agree. It's just
I
it
don't
seems
know.
out of place.
Okay, but speaking of Disney, best voice actor: Troy Baker as Joel in The Last of Us, Troy Baker as Booker DeWitt in BioShock Infinite,
Getting nominated twice, that's fair.
Stephen Ogg as Trevor Phillips in Grand Theft Auto 5, Willem Dafoe as Nathan Dawkins in Beyond Two Souls.
I was gonna say it was a 2 souls, but anyways, yeah, one of them has a 50% chance of winning.
And just like William Dafoe, he's an Oscar-nominated actor, so I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you could just throw him up there.
Man, I wonder who's gonna win, Troy Baker or Troy Baker.
I'm going with Troy Baker. How about you?
Well, one that's not quite as biased, best voice actress: Ashley Johnson as Ellie in The Last of Us, Courtney Draper as Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite, Camilla Luddington as Laura Croft in Tomb Raider, Ellen Page as Zoe Holmes in Beyond Two Souls.
Again, another Oscar-nominated. Actually, didn't Ellen Page win? She has an Oscar, so I'm like,
Yeah,
why are these actors in here? These are actual, real actors, so of course they're going to be good.
And have a they're going to be good.
I actually barely, seldom find that Hollywood actors are good voice actors unless they've done a lot of voice work before. Like, if you watch it, some of the '90s Disney movies, they usually have like a cast of like movie stars, but some of them are terrible at voice acting. Like, if some movies, like some characters, sure, we liked it when we were kids, but if you watch it now, it's like, oh god,
What was your thinking?
I thought you were an actor, not a paper plate. But
Well, they did a lot of the mocap and the actions with the dialogue, so it helped the actual actor to act in voice acting.
and portray.
Yeah.
But it's got.
Yeah.
But I usually like to say keep the voice acting to the voice actors.
Yes, and not take their job.
Anyway,
Best soundtrack.
Best soundtrack, yes. BioShock Infinite, Grand Theft Auto 5, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, and The Last of Us.
I have no opinion on this.
Neither do I.
Ni no Kuni, it's by the same what's it
Creators?
called? Composer is like Studio Ghibli, and they have such amazing scores to their movies. So I can see that and The Last of Us probably really sweeping. I mean, Grand Theft Auto has a bunch of licensed music and parody music.
And that's kind of
And
unfair.
That's unfair, yeah.
Speaking of Grand Theft Auto 5, best song in a game, ADHD by Kendrick Lamar.
I'm out.
Sleepwalking by The Chain Gang of 1974. Survival by Eminem. And Will the Circle Be Unbroken by Courtney Draper and Troy Baker. Their names rhymed.
Yeah, I think the Will Circle will be broken. That's probably gonna win out of all of them. Like, Eminem is a recording artist, and he won an Oscar for 8 Mile, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So
Mile.
there it falls under that parable. Then yeah, you're expecting good music out of these people.
And the last category, most anticipated game, South Park: Stick of Truth, aka Delayed of Truth. Destiny, Watch Dogs, Titanfall, and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
It's probably going to go to Watch Dogs.
Yeah, Watch Dogs.
Yeah, it seems like it. Although I kind of want to vote for Titanfall.
I'm really interested in Witcher 3. Like, I've seen a couple of the trailers for it, and it looks pretty freaking sweet.
Oh, have you played the first 2 games?
I played Witcher 2. I haven't played Witcher.
I got a question. Destiny, that's the new shooter by
Bungie.
Bungie, yeah. I actually, when they showed that at E3, I was like, actually, I would kind of want to play that. That's the first time I said that.
That's right. It's I'm not saying it's like Borderlands, but it's kind of like a co-op MMO-ish kind of.
It's first time in a while when I'm like, oh, FPS, yeah, I want to play that.
Also, I'll go with pre-orders at my store alone. Watch Dogs for sure.
Yeah, but yeah,
we have no pre-orders for Destiny.
What about Stick of Truth?
We have a couple, and people have actually come back into our store asking for their money back because they don't think the game's going to come out.
What happens in that situation?
I'll stick up your ass.
We just give them their money back if they ask for it. It's just their pre-order gets canceled, so they can't pick it up on day one.
I don't know. It's Bethesda, is it? That's doing it?
Wait, is it?
I don't know. Bethesda's publishing it. It's
being published by
Obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
No, Obsidian is developing it.
Right,
I think Ubisoft is publishing it.
Right.
Because I've been betrayed by Bethesda. Fuck you, okay?
Anyways, that's it for me, Wandy.
Okay, if we're done talking for years about and sidetracking other things, I do have a couple other just news articles. I want to quickly just go over, because it wouldn't be a RiverCityGamers podcast if we didn't talk about EA or something like that.
Right.
I just brought this story up because I knew it'd be something SCR would probably mention. EA has officially stopped the FIFA Manager series.
Oh boy.
And the main reason why they stopped doing that is because, well, there's already another football manager, or soccer, but it's called football over there. A football manager, Sega's Football Manager 13, that actually sold a lot more than FIFA Manager did. So they kind of knew that everyone, for all the football fans over there who actually want a football manager, they just get that instead of FIFA.
In other words, it would be a bad investment.
And thank you, Sega.
Yes.
Thank you, Sega.
Service games.
And another thing about EA is, remember how EA said they were going to do the Star Wars games?
Oh yeah, and the last one was Republic.
Yeah, well, they just announced a while ago that they are not doing any tie-in games for the future Star Wars movies.
Tie-in as into the movie?
Yeah, in other words, they're not doing movie-based games on Star Wars.
Okay, good, because I like it when they branch out and do their own thing. It's more interesting.
Yeah, and plus they already have stuff like the new Battlefront that was teased a while ago that's coming out, so...
The third one?
Yeah, they teased that back in E3, and I think DICE is making it.
Oh, Destructive Sceneries.
Yeah. So, there's that, and that's all I just wanted to mention about EA.
Alright, well, with that, let's finally move over to upcoming releases.
So, let's start off with a Vita game. Yeez, Memories of Celceta.
That comes out tomorrow.
Tomorrow as of this recording, yes.
Yeah.
And also on the Vita you have Terraria.
Wait, on the Vita Terraria?
Yeah, that's coming out on the 4th.
Okay, alright, that's interesting, but... Hardly got to see it.
Yeah, so do many people. Now this actually kind of surprised me. On the same day, there's actually a new Broken Sword game coming out. The Serpent's Curse, Episode 1.
Oh, that's interesting. I have yet to finish the Broken Sword game.
I actually have it on Google Games. I got it for free one time, or one of them, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, there's also the one on Game Boy Advance.
That's like a port, but yeah.
I've seen the copy of it on Game Boy Advance so many times, I'm just like, I don't want to buy you.
It's not bad, but it's definitely not... you're better off on...
Every time I see it, I'm just like, why do you keep coming up?
You need to fix what's broken. Alright, moving on.
Yeah, and also Episode 2 is to be announced in January, so it's episodic.
Wait, by who?
Let me just double
Telltale?
check.
It sounds like Telltale.
By Revolution Software, so, and I'm not sure if that is the original developers.
Oh, well,
No,
okay.
no, it is still the same developers. So yeah.
Well, that's
Alright.
Also on the 6th of December, we have Gran Turismo 6.
Ah, yeah. And hope it has good music. Thanks, Paige.
Okay. And then just skipping ahead a little bit to February, and we'll just stick with February for now. So we don't want to talk too much about upcoming games. On the 7th of February, we have Bravely Default. It's a new RPG from Square Enix that's coming on the 3DS.
AKA Final Fantasy.
Yes. And on the flip side, on the 11th, we have Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13.
Oh boy!
I'm trying to keep an open mind about that.
But it's a little difficult after all that.
Yeah, well, the games
Still, give it a
weren't
chance,
bad.
just
the
in
games weren't
case.
completely garbage, but snow was a problem.
Yeah.
Among other things.
I am a pulseless sea! All of you are going to die!
Also, fuck you for having the same name as me, Snow. Fuck you.
But yeah.
Okay. But going away from that, on the 25th of February, we actually have 3 games coming out. We have Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2, which I'm interested in, but that's just me, probably.
Shadow of the Colossus 2 finally, yeah.
Oh, seriously?
No.
No.
I was just making
Oh,
a
wait,
joke.
I get it.
Yeah, I was just making a joke.
It's actually less Shadow of the Colossus based on what I play in the demo.
Oh,
Like,
good. Happy about that.
We also have Tales of Symphonia Chronicles, which is the HD release of both Tales of Symphonia and Dawn of the New World.
I'm actually excited about that, because I want to get that, play it.
And there's also the new Thief game.
Oh, you mean that one PC game that was all about stealth? Okay, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's a new one coming out.
Wait, what was the Tales of Symphonia released for?
It's for PS3.
Oh, okay. I'm
Really?
It's a JRPG. It comes out
Yeah.
on PS3.
Well,
Yeah.
most of the the last 2 Tales games have been on PS3, so.
Wasn't Graces on the Wii though?
Originally in Japan, it was.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
released it. Grace's ass for PS3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which got an English translation.
And finally on the 28th, there's Professor Layton in the Arisen Legacy on the 3DS. So another Professor Layton game.
another puzzle game. Great.
Wait, when does the new Phoenix Wright come out, or is it already out?
It's been out, I think.
The Dual
not a while ago.
Destinies? Wait, Dual Destinies? It's already out and it's only an eShop. It's not physical copy.
Ah, okay. I was
But-
wondering because I'm like, why hasn't it come into the store yet? I want
They're-
to buy it.
Fans are trying to get a physical copy by getting Capcom to it, but so far it's only in digital copy. I have yet to play it.
Yeah. Well, DuckTales got itself a physical copy, so
Yeah.
cross your fingers.
Yeah.
Come on, crap home.
Okay, that should be it for now for the upcoming games.
Alright, well, then let's go to recent pickups. And eeny, meeny, miny, mo, go Blondie.
Okay. So I'm just actually going to go back to back in end of October. There was a Steam sale. It was a Halloween Steam sale, and I've got a couple games from there.
Damn it.
What?
You just reminded me where to look for games, but nothing important. Go on.
Okay. So I actually ended up getting the Binding of Isaac since it was only like I think it was $1.
Good game.
And I also ended up getting Shadow Man on sale, the first Shadow Man, because it was on PC. I do have it on the N64, but I figured for recording purposes, since I can record it at a higher resolution, I figured I might as well get that version.
What was Shadow Man about?
Shadow Man is a third-person action game. It was made by Acclaim. It's actually one of their better games, and you play as someone who can traverse in Land of the Dead and stuff like that, like switch between like realms of like our world and the Dead world, basically.
Kind of
And,
makes me...
there's a lot of and it has the overall theme of Voodooism and stuff like that.
It
in Louisiana.
It kind of reminds me. It makes me think of Soul Reaver. But continuing on.
Yeah, getting past that, I also picked up Tales of the Abyss on the 3DS. So, yeah, I mean, might as well keep collecting the Tales games while I'm at it. Now, and then this was at Youmacon. I ended up getting a few games. A couple I bought myself, a couple that SCR gave me. The ones I got for myself were Castlevania Legends on the Game Boy. That I was surprised to find at a vendor, and it was $20, but it's pretty much worth it because that game usually goes for pretty high online.
Oh, it's not adventure. Okay.
No, it's not.
It's the one where you play as a female, right?
That's
a fun one. That's a fun game.
It's the third Game Boy Castlevania one. I also ended up getting Zombie U for the Wii U because at the same vendor it was $20.
Oh, what?
That's actually pretty good. That's pretty sweet.
That's pretty much a good steal.
Mm-hmm.
We're still selling it for about $40.
I know. Now, for the games that SCR has given me, he ended up giving me Star Wars Racer Revenge on the PlayStation 2, which is the sequel to Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And I've played some of it, and it's kind of I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not exactly the most fun game ever.
What system did you say it was for again?
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2. Okay.
Yeah, and then there was also, but it doesn't top this game, there's also Road Rash. He also gave me Road Rash Jailbreak on the PlayStation.
Oh, was that the one with the live-action FMVs? Because that's the one I played and I liked it.
Yeah. I tried playing it, and it's dated considerably, and at one time it froze on me, so not exactly too keen on the game, but whatever. It's just a game that SCR gave me anyway.
Yeah.
Was it the only one on PlayStation, or was there another one that I might be thinking of?
I'm not exactly sure. Maybe.
I have Road Rash for Saturn, and if the game you're talking about is as dated as that one, then yeah, it's quite dated.
Yeah, still beat people over the side.
Okay, and then I also ended up getting Skull Monkeys on the PlayStation. Now, Skull Monkeys is actually a sequel to The Neverhood, which is the claymation point-click adventure game on the PC.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some really funny bosses in that, if I remember correctly. Like a head of a black guy that shoots his eyeballs out and stuff. It's super, super weird.
Yes, that's actually the next video I'm working on, by the way, but we'll get into that when we get to the video updates.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
Advanced.
And I also ended up getting Valkyria Chronicles 2 on the PSP.
Oh,
And,
wasn't there also one on PS3 too?
the first one was on PS3.
Oh
The
wait, you said two. Oh, I missed that for some reason.
Or whatever, it's fine. And then I also got Infamous on PS3 and Punch-Out for the Wii.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
And that should be it from what I got in the past month or so.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go next. Okay. Most of these, in fact, I think all of these are for PC.
I have some that I picked up for you, too, by the way.
The GOG had this crazy sale on, where they would put up a game on sale in limited quantities.
Oh, good old games.
Yeah, so I have a lot of PC games to go through, so let's just get started. Well, first, there's Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark.
Oh yeah, I got
Nightmare. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
that.
1 Unit Whole Blood. Puddle. Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition. Thief 2. Retro City Rampage. Jade Empire. Thief Gold. The Pit. Wing Commander 4. Anvil of Dawn. Defender's Quest. Myst Masterpiece Edition. Fez, which I apparently already had a copy of, so now I have 2. Okay. The Blackwell Bundle. Deus Ex Game of the Year Edition. Planescape Torment, Wing Commander Privateer, Aquanox, Baldur's Gate, the original saga, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, Thief Deadly Shadows, and Evoland. So, I've got a lot of PC games to play.
No shit.
Or get around to.
That's why I'm starting up a new show, but we'll talk about that, eventually. CJ knows about it, so.
Oh, yeah. Also, he also picked up, since I have them here in front of me right now, you picked up Bionic Commando, Wario Land 3 for the Game Boy Color, Spy vs. Spy for the Game Boy Color as well, Dragon Warriors 1 and 2 for the Game Boy, and randomly your Game Gear, Tails Adventures.
Hooray! What about Tactics Advance?
Oh yes, Tactics Advance is actually in my GBA right now.
Playing a little bit of it? Cool.
Yeah.
So thank you, CJ, for picking those up for me. And since you're talking about games, why don't you talk about what you recently picked up?
I wanted to go next just to get things out of the way.
All right. I have quite a few, but like something that I can really sort of glance quickly over. I picked up a couple of GBA games. I picked up Pokemon the trading card game, Pokemon Ruby, and I got both of the Fire Emblems for the GBA. I also picked up 3 like super awesome RPGs from my PlayStation 2 eras. I got Star Ocean Till the Ends of Time, Radiata Stories, and Dark Cloud 2, which was pretty freaking sweet. I got those
Game Boy Advance.
Oh no, for PlayStation 2. I moved on from GBA. And I also picked up 2 GameCube games. One being Ultimate Muscle, The Legends of a New Generation.
Nice.
I saw it and I was like, alright, I remember watching this on Foxbox, because it says Foxbox on the back. So, yeah. And I picked up Hello Kitty Roller Rescue.
Hello Kitty!
And I streamed it. I streamed it for a night, and it's not bad. It's fantastic, actually.
Also,
it was produced by Namco, so it's actually a fairly good game.
I actually also want to mention, when you told me about those games, like, hey, do you want any of these? The Fire Emblems were there, and I said I wanted them, and you're like, no, I'm gonna take them.
Yeah,
son of a bitch.
Yeah. But like, it's not fair to tell you the prices that I get video games at. So I'm not going to mention how much I paid for most of them.
I know how much you paid.
Yeah. Well, for yours you do, not for the Dark Cloud stuff. Yeah.
No, I know how much you pay for games.
It saves my rent, good friend.
If you get Fire Emblem again, I swear to God.
Oh well, yeah, I'll get it for you.
I'm really actually, when it comes to Fire Emblem, I mostly want the Wii one. So, but I do want the GBA still. Anyways, enough of my rambling. Wiz, you've been waiting. Go ahead.
Oh wait, was that it? Oh, all right. All right, going off on the PC games because thanks to Blondie, I remembered that I bought those things too. So thanks a lot. I got Nox. It's a not point and click. It's an adventure game. I got Pathologic, and do not get this game. It's horrible. Even the fans don't like it. I've been talking with Angel Halo about Pathologic. And then there was that thing on Good Old Games where the Halloween bundle. You remember that, Zero?
Oh, I didn't take a look at that.
Oh, but it was basically like the bundle thing you had going, but except it was on Halloween. So, just like some of the games Zero has, I Have No Mouth, and I Must Scream. The Penumbra collection, because you know I'm new to the darkness, and the Cat Lady. I haven't played any of these games, by the way. Alone in the Dark, 1, 2, and 3, and Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, and Waxworks.
Waxy.
Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting game, minus a few puzzle things, but that's what I got for PC. I don't remember if I got anything from Humble Bundle. I'm just gonna say no just to keep it short, but I know I'm done. For the other game, what? You were saying?
No, are you done?
No, I
Okay.
still got just 4 more games. So, I'm gonna count this as picking up. I had to rebuy 3D Dot Game Heroes. Fun game, finally beat it. Shadow Snake's favorite game, Ken's Rage, which is actually not bad. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like that.
Wait, you have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah. Well, Dynasty Warriors it's but whatever. Pokemon X, I got it on a whim, and I'm done with the game. The game I've been playing recently, because it's so good, Legend of Zelda, Link Between Two Worlds. You should go get it, because it's great, and it's Zelda, and it's a reimagining of Link to the Past, and I like it.
It's not really a reimagining, it's just the same map.
It is, but it's done differently.
Yeah.
It's like a sequel.
Sort of.
Sort of like how
300 years in the
Stone
future or
Tablets was-
something like that.
Which I'm surprised they haven't re-released the Stone Tablets in any form, because I don't know.
But yeah, that's my list. Not that many games, but
I actually just remembered a game that I forgot to mention. For 3DS, I picked up, should anybody really be surprised, Power Rangers Mega Force for the 3DS.
oh yeah, you told me about that.
I bought it for one reason and one reason only. It came with a card.
Card.
And the sound that came with the card was crap, so I was like, well, that's 39.
Mega Force.
You know, it reminds me of that. You remember that Decade Final Form Ride card that had the exact same sound as the regular card?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So how's the game?
Well, I beat it already. I beat it in like 2 days, so I'll be doing a review on it eventually.
Power Rangers Megadon.
Alright, so for that,
By the way, I forgot to mention that I also got Nintendo Land for the Wii U, but that's it.
alright. Well, with that, let's get to our discussion topic. Next generation. More specifically, the Wii U, the Xbox One, and the PS4. 2 of these consoles just recently came out. So, next generation is fully here now. I mean, it's been here since last year because the Wii U came out, but now all 3 consoles are here, and
War is on.
I'm hoping they're not queer. So, but we are going to get used to them. So let's start with each console. So let's start with the Wii U. So, I think all of us in here except Wiz has the Wii U.
Yeah.
But you've at least played the Wii U, right, Wiz?
Yeah, I've played it.
Yeah. So.
I got an idea.
Yeah, and you played it when we went to Canonicon, so you can at least formulate an opinion on it. So we can still talk about it. So I bought my Wii U back in February or March.
Oh wait, speaking of Wii U, they're having a sale now where it's $300 for the black version.
I actually checked.
It's been $300 for a little while, actually. That's when I got it.
Yeah, at Walmart, the bundle with New Super Mario Bros. U and New Luigi U is $289 right now. So
Yeah, we're selling it for $289 at our store.
So it's on sale right now. If you're looking to get a Wii U, now's
quality.
the time. But yeah, I got mine back in March, and I've only had a couple games for it until recently when I started buying more games for it. So now the big games for it are coming out. But I guess the first thing to say is it too late for the Wii U, you think?
No.
No, I don't think so. The easiest way to put it is while all these big consoles are coming out right now, but they have absolutely nothing when it comes to
library.
games, really. Whereas the Wii U is now finally picking up stride and has quite a few games. Some older releases, like things like Batman has come out for it and other things like that. But we have a bunch of first-party titles from Nintendo now that you can pick from.
It's funny because I heard a lot of people, like tons of people, have been saying things about the Wii U, like it's still not there yet. And it's funny to think, like just an example. Myself and Angel Hale, and I'm not sure anybody else watches Review Tech USA, and he recently did a video talking about how like he thinks it's too late for the Wii U because they had like a year's head start and they didn't do anything with it. They kind of did the same thing with the 3DS, and the 3DS is now selling really well. But also the 3DS came out at $300, and nobody...
Yeah, and if you think about it, what console hasn't had a slow first year?
Exactly.
Yeah.
In other words, patience.
Because now the good games are coming out for it, and now they have a bundle where you get 2 free games, 2 free Mario games with it.
Or you can get the Legend. Or you can get the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
And another selling point to it is, as the more that games are going to be using this remote play feature, you know, with the whole PlayStation 4 being able to play their games on the Vita, buying the Wii U is actually financially better because you're not spending, you know, $400 on a console and then you're spending another $200 on a handheld that does pretty much the same thing. The Wii U is already designed to be able to be mostly cross-playable with most things.
The thing with the remote play too, because you can play on the Wii U screen
and not have to turn on the TV.
The problem with that is the range isn't as far.
Yeah.
I think because the big thing right now is the Vita TV got announced in Japan like a month or so ago, and it's basically saying you can remote play your PS4 games in any room the Vita TV is in, which is great. But when my Wii U gamepad, I can't even take it across the room and play my Wii U games on it because it doesn't. It comes out of range. Like
a lot of people say that's software rather than hardware, though.
Yeah.
So hopefully Nintendo is gonna actually work on that. But even then, like, it's still within your own home. It's not like I can take my Vita out and go to work and play Killzone, like Shadowfall, all the way
on
to
the
work.
Wii U.
Exactly. Yeah. But
You know,
That's unreasonable.
the handheld, the PS Vita remote play thing, I think is stronger than it is on the Wii U. The only difference is you don't have to spend, another $200 for another handheld just to get the remote play feature. So,
not to mention the fact that the Wii U is right now the least expensive out of all three consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm hearing a lot about too is saying that the Wii U is underpowered. Well, spec-wise, that's true. Compared to the two new consoles, there's not that big of a difference. Like, just as an example, it's probably Fafi who posted this, because Fafi posts this stuff all the time. But there's a comparison between the PS3 and PS4 versions of Ghosts. Very, very slight difference.
Minimal.
Like,
Well, it was either that or the 360 and Xbox One versions, but yeah.
Yeah, same thing, but it's very, very slight differences. I think people are...
But you have to remember
Hardly
that
noticeable.
the Ghost was developed really not for next-gen consoles. It was developed for, the PlayStation 3 and the 360.
But,
you can't say, oh, well, we're going to boost it super on. They're not going to spend money like that.
But
they're just going to port it, shine it up, and polish it. They're not going to give it the Wind Waker overhaul like Nintendo did. They're not going to do that.
Even looking at exclusives like Rise and Shadowfall, they don't look that much better than what the PS3 and Xbox 360 are putting out right now. So...
having actual hands-on experience with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, because I work at a game store, I do see the difference in something like Killzone. At first, you're like, oh yeah, it seems a little bit more polished and a little bit more of this, but how they've done textures and how everything is the process is better. Like the 60 frames and all that is constant. Sometimes it will drip, especially in like Dead Rising 3, for example, which isn't a next-gen game at all. It's really just a fancy 360 game with a lot more bit processing power, or whatever you want to call it.
More stuff to handle on screen.
But see, that just shows you the processing power of the machine. And it's the same thing with Wonderful 101. It was to show how much the Wii U could process on one screen.
I mean, and going back, like, technically speaking, yes, the Wii U has its disadvantages in certain areas like RAM and space, but its biggest positive that almost no one is talking about is that it has an SSD in it. Now, for those of you who aren't tech savvy, an SSD is a solid-state drive. Basically, it's if you took a hard drive, or you took a flash memory card and made it hard drive size. And what that means is flash memory is way faster than a hard drive. And while the Xbox One and the PS4, I think, have 500 gig hard drives in them, if you install a game, well, not install, but if you buy a game on the eShop, rather than buying a disc version on the Wii U, the loading times are lightning fast. Just as an example, I have a friend who bought his son the Wind Waker HD on the Wii U, and there's almost no loading time or draw distance or anything. that's the biggest advantage the Wii U has right now. Because the SSDs are super fast, and right now they're expensive. That's why there's only a 32 gigabyte one in the Wii U. But I see in time them possibly making a redesigned console in the next couple years where the SSD can be like at least 200 or 300 gigs. Because right now SSDs are, you're pretty much paying $1 a gigabyte right now for them. So, it's sometimes even more so. In fact, even more so after taxes and everything. So if you want like a 200 gigabyte SSD for your computer, you're looking at almost $300 for it. So that's not a lot of space, but you get speed out of it. So basically, that's the Wii U's biggest advantage right now, is that any games you buy on the eShop pretty much are going to have no loading times, or close to no loading times. And I think that's why Nintendo's really pushing people to buy games on the eShop, because that's one, they can produce less, physical copies, and two, they're just faster.
And
one other big thing about the Wii U is it doesn't force you to have HDMI. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's the future where we need to all have HD TVs with HDMI. Well, some people can't afford that type of stuff. So having at least the idea that you can be component or even goddamn composite is good. Like, and you have all those features built into a console that you can run on almost virtually any TV. Yeah, except for some really, really old ones.
I like having the option, especially because this year, as well as buying Wii U, I just bought the HD PVR. So, and I bought the one that doesn't have HDMI on it. So if I buy a PS4 or an Xbox One in the future, I'm gonna have to get a whole new capture card for them, or get it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, one of my buddies,
However, they have systems that allow you to capture video on them.
That's true.
Built in.
What were you saying, Wiz?
I was saying one of my buddies had to get like a whole brand new HD PVR because of the PS4, had something that didn't let him use his old HDMI PVR recording.
Probably the recording protection on the HDMI port on it. That's been a thing since the PS3.
That's all I gotta say. And the PS4 has a Twitch TV stream thing, so you could probably just download.
Yeah. And Xbox One will get it eventually.
Right. Blondie, you haven't said much. Is there anything you want to say about the Wii U?
Well, I've recently got it about last month ago, and I'm quite enjoying the console. Like you said with Wind Waker, like I got the Wind Waker bundle, so it came with a download version of that, and since you did mention it, yeah, there is like virtually no load time or anything really with that version. Although there are occasionally like minor pop in when you're like sailing and like occasional like slowdown with like if there's like a lot of bombs on the screen and stuff. But other than that, it performs great.
Well, I mean that was a thing even problem with the GameCube version. Like the GameCube version had no load times, but it did have slowdown because of it. But draw distance wise, like, how's the draw distance on the version you have?
Well, it's quite good. I mean, I'm not complaining. And
I think I actually saw a comparison video of somebody comparing Wind Waker HD download version and the disc version, and the download version just is faster in all ways. Like the draw distance, how quickly it comes in. Frame rate slow down with certain parts of the game that it has to load, because the original Wind Waker didn't have any loading screens. It was basically just going on.
It was smooth.
It was sailing. Yeah. That was your loading screen. So, that's why I think because disc technology is becoming, it's not obsolete, but we're probably going to see it go away not go away, but become less involved in the next 5 to 10 years probably, as everything's going to go digital. So, but the consoles still need to have them because they still need to sell those physical things for this generation. So I think that's after this console generation, if there ends up being another one.
I could see this generation forcing it. Like if, for example, like Halo 5 comes out for the Xbox One, and they say digital download only. There's not going to be a physical copy of it. I know it's unrealistic and it's not going to happen, but if they were to do that, it would force people into the mentality, especially the quote-unquote consumer gamer that just buys the mainstream titles and stuff like that.
And doesn't have internet access.
It would say, oh, well, this is what you're going to have to do. This is going to be the next future, that everything is not going to be disc-based. It's going to be this. And
Right at
yeah, you
home.
could say people that don't have internet connections, but remember, that's what the 360's for. Ha 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 ha. Ha
And
ha ha.
that actually lets us
Ha, ha, ha,
segue to
TTT.
the next thing. Let's talk about the Xbox One, since it's the most recent thing that got released. And I think, CJ, you should start because you've been dealing with these consoles releasing, working in a game store, and you've actually had more hands-on probably with the two new consoles than we have. Can you tell us about what you thought about the Xbox One?
The Xbox One, it's a big system. It is huge. Like we're so used to having our consoles being downsized, I guess, recently. So something like the PS4 and the Xbox One are quite large in comparison to, the Xbox 360 Slim and the new super slim PS3. Like, it's like you look at it and you're just like, all right, well, I've got the brick and I've also got this. And
It has a brick?
yes, it has a brick.
Oh,
PlayStation 4 doesn't have a brick, but the
looks
Xbox
like a tower.
One does. Yeah. But it's like you have all this extra stuff, a lot of weight. It's definitely going to be probably downsized in the next couple of years, but the only thing that a lot of people are huge on and have a huge hard on about the Xbox One is a graphical standpoint. Like the whole idea that it only outputs at 720p rather than true HD 1080p is a big like and then there's of course the Kinect, which is it's not completely obligated. You don't have to have it plugged in, but a lot of the features that you use in the interface, it makes it so much easier just to say it. Because like we'll take the menu for example, on how like you have these snap pins and all this other stuff. Like you just say Xbox Snap and it snaps everything away and brings the game back on full screen, because you can get lost in those menus.
Oh, is it is it more responsive and what was it? Is it more precise when you tell it what to do?
Yes, the actual Kinect. I mean, I haven't played around with the Kinect all that much. We don't get a lot of time to play around with the system.
Okay, but from what you've played of,
yeah, it is quite responsive, but there's no games other than the new Dance Central game that just came out that really utilizes anything other than audio commands. Like there's not like I need to like wave and rise to make my troops go forward or anything like that.
Kind of like when the original Kinect came out.
Yeah, exactly. It's been forced down our throats now. It's thrown on an extra $100 onto the system, which and this is just coming from a little bit of inside information, but in our system there's a Xbox One that's $100 cheaper. That may mean that sometime around the Christmas season or just after the Christmas season, there's going to be a like a non-Kinect version. I don't know if that's going to be true or not, but I know that you don't need to have it plugged into play. It's not like you need to have it in. It will tell you that it's disconnected, and it's harder to navigate without it, but you can still do it. The interface is very similar to the Xbox 360's interface. It's not that much different. They put a lot of the more meaningful things on the front. Like you can go directly to the Xbox Live Marketplace. It's none of this like shifting through games, TV, and audio and all that garbage that we had to do.
I actually heard that the interface, while the Xbox 360's current interface was sort of like beta Metro, the Xbox One's interface is pretty much like the Metro from Windows 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very similar. If there's going to be any integration with Windows phones or Windows 8 entirely, then you'll be right at home, especially if you already have that upgraded PC or phone. Game-wise, I feel like it's got a stronger lineup of launch titles, like very loosely. It's really up to your interpretation, because they actually have an exclusive or two exclusive, one mainstream, one not so mainstream, that a lot of people are looking for, rather than just saying, oh well, here's Call of Duty, here's Battlefield. Knack is really interesting on the PS4, but and both things like Need for Speed are on both consoles and everything like that. Where with Dead Rising 3 and Killer Instinct, there's a lot more, what I guess excuse the pun, have killer apps for it that make people say, oh, I'll spend the extra $100 to actually have games that I can relate with.
Yeah, as much as I like Killer Instinct, and this new one does look alright, but there's just several things that hold me back against wanting an Xbox One to just get that. It costs extra to get that system, and also the fact that they pretty much just only released half the game so far, and they're releasing like a season 2 in March of the rest of the Killer Instinct characters, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, but you can play it for free, which you only get 2 characters. You get Jago and Saberwolf. You can spend the $20, which will unlock all the characters up to this point, as well as when Fulgur and Spinal come out, you'll get them free download and everything like that. But you can spend $40 and you get your Season 2 pass and get all the extra like costumes and all that weird garbage.
I think you also get Killer Instinct Classic, right?
Yes, I do believe so.
That is a bit more of an incentive too, but I'm still kind of a bit jaded.
But they're still considered. They're not considered like actual game launch titles. They're Xbox Live arcade games. They're not considered what we would say. Oh, it's kind of like when Skullgirls came out. Like it has a very small roster of characters, but they're much more fleshed out, and they're actually taking their time with it.
I know at the same time, it's like if you get Killer Instinct along with Killer Instinct Classic, and it's like, oh, this new one has 6 characters, but then you play the old one, it's like, oh, this actually has 10. Like
it feels such like kind of. I don't want to use the word rip-off, but it doesn't feel like you're not getting as much.
But you will get that content. It will just take them a while for it to release, so the game stays relevant. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's not doing what Capcom does. At least they don't just release it and then you have to pay for everything.
I was gonna say, so it's kind of like episodic gaming, except not.
Exactly.
I mean,
plus by the time if at all I get an Xbox One, all the stuff will be released for Killer Instinct anyway. So
yeah, I'm thinking I'm basically just saying like when I get an Xbox One, it'll probably be when they release that KI set, whenever that comes out, that KI bundle, that when the full game's already out.
Yeah,
because that's an easy thing for them to sell.
Yeah, once Season 2 gets underway, that's probably when the best time would be to buy it.
I'm still rallying for Cinder. It's my favorite.
I want Rift,
and he's easy to use
because I want to piss off 12-year-olds on the internet.
Well, technically, I think he got defeated in the first Killer Instinct. That's why he's not in 2 and Gold.
He died. He actually was the only one to die.
Oh wait, really? Riptor too.
Because he was the cheapest character, and I always piss people off.
they got rid of Riptor too. That actually pissed off my brother. But yeah.
Oh.
So.
Okay,
we'll see. It's all rumors for Season 2. We know that Fulgur is the 8th character now, so they got all the poster kids out.
Yeah, Spinal. Can you release Spinal as a?
Yes, Spinal is coming out in January, and then Fulgur's in March.
Spinal goes to Hollywood.
I really want Riptor to come back.
Everybody wants Riptor. But and then other games like Dead Rising 3 doesn't really show off the hardware other than its processing power. And then all the other things are just old. Like Black Flags looks a lot better. The water physics seem a little bit nicer than their 360 and PS3 counterpart. But everything else is just sort of like we have to wait for like Gran Turismo. Like, I mean, I'm not a big racing fan, so things like Forza and all that, I'm like, whatever. But it looks really sweet. The Need for Speed water mechanics of just dripping water and battle damage on your cars and everything like that is pretty sweet. Yeah, like, I mean, that's all it is. It's a chrome finish on something that we're gonna have to probably wait about a year to have something amazing come out.
Yeah, because right now, like, a lot of these launch games just seem like they just have, like, they just want to, like, show off the presentation of, like, what these next-gen consoles can do.
Tech demos?
I guess you could call it that, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, when you get to the actual games, they're, like, games you've kind of already sort of played before, in a sense, or in the case of like something like Rise, it's just like a pretty game with QuickTime events, with even more QuickTime events than something like God of War.
Yeah, where Assassin's Creed does what Rise is trying to do better, and it's a series that's like almost 7 games in now. You know, it's so, I don't know, like it's definitely, nothing stands out on either side that makes me go, yeah, I want to buy that system. Like KI was probably the only thing that made me go, yep, okay, Xbox One is in my future at some point, you know. And like, I guess you could say the same thing for PS3, saying, oh, well, Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy 15, oh yay.
Well, I think that with that leads us into the PS4. The PS4, I don't have much to comment on, like with the Xbox One. The only thing I have to comment on is I just keep thinking back to E3.
Yeah.
And how Xbox had to 180 everything just to get people to play.
Yeah, well, here I'll show you the damage in just our pre-order sales. PlayStation 3, we had 27 pre-orders for the PlayStation 4. Not PlayStation 3, sorry. For the Xbox One, we had 2.
Wow.
And that's just our location. I don't know about the grand scheme of things or anything like that, but that's the ratio. Within just a week, you know, like that's all.
Yeah, it's funny. My brother actually said he went to a Future Shop in our town, and he asked the clerk, because he was there just looking at games and stuff. He's like, "How many pre-orders have you guys got for the Xbox One?" This is like when the pre-orders for both consoles had just opened up. He said about 2, and he's like, "Okay, so how many for the PlayStation 4? We're out of them." So that was.
Well, it's hard to say since then if they got more pre-orders than that.
I know the Xbox One is doing a lot better now than it was before, when everything was being put out there, because they've had to do a ton of damage control since they first announced the console, because E3, especially because of E3, like Sony pretty much said, you know what? If we want to beat these guys, we're gonna have to get the consumer, and that's exactly.
We'll get the console out earlier and make it cheaper, and say we won't do this.
Yeah, but see, even that, like we talk about the DRM stuff. The DRM stuff was, for Xbox anyway, it's a lot of like killing blows. You know, like it just, people just didn't want it. However, the PS4 was going to have this. They quickly, before the announcement at E3, they quickly redacted on a lot of it, and they changed their policy just to sort of, because they're like, oh, with all the starting leaks, people are like, oh, well, we don't want that, we don't want this, so like, let's just take it out before it happens.
Right.
And with all the controversy being thrown on Xbox, PlayStation 4 was able to just, you know, change about everything, and they were able to create an ad campaign like slandering, like, you know, sharing games and all that. Like, I do like the idea that Xbox was putting forward. It's just they didn't put the information out properly. They didn't know how to say it. Like, the idea of me, like, oh, there's 4 of us in here right now. I buy a game. I buy one game. I buy Dead Rising 3. And if it was on the old policy, if you guys were on my friends list for 30 days and you already are on my Xbox friends list, then that means I can share my game with up to 10 people. We can't all play it at the same time, only 2 or something like that, but then at least 10 people in my friends list that don't actually need to own the game physically can play it when they want. Because we're not all up at the same time.
Another thing that wasn't really explained to people about the always online thing is Microsoft did a really bad job of advertising it. They basically made the always online thing sound like a check-in thing, when what they were trying to get at was something that's been talked about quite a bit, cloud processing. Now, being a computer tech myself, what that basically means is what they were going to put some functions for games. This will probably still be something in the future, to a server to basically make virtual CPUs or virtual RAM in the server, so that they could run better, like the games could run better performance on your console, because it's not so much on the hardware now, it's being virtualized to the server. Basically, what I'm saying is that they wanted to use the always online thing, basically, so that they could say, we're not overheating your Xbox. Because that was a huge problem with the 360, because the thing overheated all the frickin' time, and they had a huge problem. Again, that buddy of mine who used to work at Microsoft that I was talking about, he had nothing to do with the gaming division, but they were so backed up that he had to start taking requests for 360s because they were so backed up. So it was ridiculous.
But this sort of goes back to the point. I was just going to say, this goes back to the point, as you notice how we've gone off the topic of PlayStation 4 and back onto Xbox. It's because PlayStation 4, in all honesty, the PlayStation 4, it's selling a lot, but there's nothing really to talk about. Like, it's just... but see, that's the whole thing. Not yet. Like, we can talk about remote play, which is fantastic. Being able to have your Vita, and my friend Mike, he has both a Vita and a PS4, and he was showing me how he can play most games, except for Knack, which is random. He can play almost any game remotely on his Vita throughout the house.
Unless it doesn't need the other triggers.
Yeah, well, no, but see, they've compensated for that with these back touchpads that were on the Vita. I know it's a terrible idea because you could accidentally trigger them by just holding the goddamn thing. But it's a way to sort of get around it, and it plays amazingly. It's not like anything is delayed or anything like that. You can have it on the TV, and then you can have it on your lap, and you can be playing it on the Vita rather than TV, but someone can still watch you play, or someone can just change the channel to something else. You can watch Netflix and play a video game at the same time on your PlayStation 4. That's pretty sweet.
Kind of like what the Wii U did before,
exactly.
but yeah.
Oh, can I say something before it becomes irrelevant? Back to the Xbox One thing. It kind of sounds like they're doing the on-live thing. Not heating up your system, but you can still play the games.
Well, the whole thing with OnLive is it was all cloud-based, and it was like a rental service. So it was like the Netflix for gaming. But the problem with it is that if you didn't have a really strong internet connection, you were kind of screwed. Do you see what I was going at? Yeah, I have pretty decent internet here, and I used OnLive for a bit because they gave away free games. I tried playing Ninja Blade on the thing. The game would crash all the frickin' time because it would said I was disconnected, even though my connection was like full bars.
Yeah, good idea, but just good.
Compared to the world, something my buddy always says, that Canada has close to third world internet, but that's only because our internet providers only offer certain internet services in certain areas. So it's not like the States where there's a lot more rural areas. So
I can vouch for that.
Blonde, even you unfortunately live in an area where the internet isn't super good.
Yeah, and even for me, I live by myself in a small apartment, and I can't afford these magical, like, huge... See, that's the whole thing. I'm glitching. See? My fucking internet is dumb. So, like, how am I...
Right here, right now.
So, that's the whole thing. Like, I mean, I can't afford super awesome super internet, but I mean, Skype is never a good indication of your internet because it chugs the shit out of your internet.
And sometimes it works when you're not even connected. I've had it happen before, which is weird.
But I think... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was going to segue into the idea of being able to record your video game footage and streaming to Twitch. Like our buddy Arist has been streaming a lot of Assassin's Creed 4 from his PS4. And it's amazing how integrated it is. Watching Angry Joe do a stream was pretty sweet as well. Seeing, live comments sort of popping up on the screen, telling him how many people are viewing. You can read it without you having to tilt your head to a computer screen and all that. It's working very, very well. There is this whole issue where game developers are allowed to not let you stream certain things, where it will cut your stream when certain things are happening. Like if a story segment's happening, if the developer's like, we don't want our story on the internet, then they can ban your stream for a couple of minutes while the cutscene plays and then it goes back up.
Okay, here's my big question about the Xbox One specifically. I know that you can hook in other consoles into the Xbox One, technically, through the other video option or whatever, or the TV option.
Because that's for plugging in your TV.
Can you stream from that other option? Because, I mean, if I can stream fucking Super Nintendo games using my Xbox One, that'd be great, because my biggest problem with streaming is if I want to stream anything that's older than previous gen, aka on composite, I have to put my laptop right in front of my TV, and I can't see anything.
I haven't heard anything about that, but I mean, if you're able to do it to make it go to a secondary TV or another output, maybe?
If I could stream Super Mario World using my Xbox One, that'd be pretty sweet.
I just don't know if it works with the interface like that. I don't know if you can load up your Xbox One and then you can have your Super Nintendo plugged into it, and then it plays on your Xbox One and is assimilated into the Twitch, because the Twitch is linked to your system, not just what it's outputting.
And then they're gonna find a fix for it.
Yeah, I'm sure the internet will figure it out.
Yeah, but I think another topic that needs to be discussed is something you mentioned earlier about the HD stuff. Is anybody, like, I know it's not a huge deal to most people who play games, but is anybody else concerned that the new consoles that the developers begged to have new hardware for are having trouble doing 1080p? I mean, since 1080p's been around just before like the previous gen consoles came out, like,
and then we're moving to 4K.
And 4K is out now. 4K is the new thing. It's out now. And if these consoles are struggling with 1080p, I'm starting to get concerned with if these are actually going to be able to last 10 years like they said they will.
Do you think it's hardware though? Like, the hardware may be up to snuff. It could be the software.
Here's the thing. We've had this hardware for a while. Like, basically, the way the PS3 and the Xbox One are now, they're pretty much built as gaming PCs, like middle budget gaming PCs.
Yeah.
The basically saving costs on having to buy an OS and buy this and buy that.
It's pre-made.
Yes, silly console peasants.
Basically, it's just saving money on certain things that you'd have to buy for a PC. But this hardware's been around for a while, and there's been PC games that can run 1080p on this type of hardware. So I'm starting to get concerned, like, is the OSs for these consoles just too young for developers, or can they just not work with it?
Well, it's sort of like how you build with an idea, for example. You have an idea that you want to build a scale model of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. You want it to have all the bells and whistles. You want all this, but your skill level and everything else and the time that's required to actually put forward this massive giant T-Rex to scale out of, toothpicks or whatever you want to make it out of, like, that's how it is. We have these big visions, like, game developers are given all these magical super tools, but when it actually comes to individuals that are making the hardware for it, they come up with limitations. And the biggest one, which was last console's generation, was heat. Holy crap. Like, remember when the Xbox came out, red rings of death all around because there's too much heat. PlayStation 4, if you took off a couple of nodules on certain things, you could cook eggs on it. Like, if we don't, we have to start running coolant systems through our gaming systems to even have the proper processing power for not only gaming, like, for visual things, but also, like, gameplay and solid frame rate and all this extra stuff that isn't just about a picture on the screen.
Generation 7 was the generation where third-party cooling systems started becoming a thing.
I know, right? But see, that's it. That's the next jump. We're going to have a coolant bar inserted into our Xbox One.
Or then put like a thermometer next to it, like it comes attached to it, so you can see it rising in heat.
Yeah, or you could call it like Xbox next year will release the Xbox One Zero. You know, where it's
the Xbox
zero,
microwave.
your console runs at 0 degrees Celsius at all times.
No, it'll probably be Xbox 1.1 because it's Windows 8.1.
I was gonna say
They haven't done a version of Windows .1 since 3.1, so
or they'll just integrate Google Plus into it, and then everybody will be happy, right?
oh my
Right.
god, if they make a Google Plus console, I think the gaming industry is screwed. But
and then they make a microwave, and it's like, oh, cook while you play. There.
just, like, it must be like the thing is, it must be the new architectures and OSs that are giving developers trouble, because it can't be the hardware, because we've had this hardware before in PCs and it's been fine. And the other thing too is, I remember back in E3 when they were displaying games for the Xbox One, some of the games were being played on Windows 7 PCs running the same hardware. So that just goes to show that Microsoft, first of all, doesn't have faith in the OS for the Xbox One yet, but second of all, doesn't have enough faith in the Windows 8 to even use that as an OS, which is the basis for the Xbox One OS.
Yeah, but you can't. Could you say that maybe the OS for the Xbox One wasn't finished at that point?
But that doesn't.
Because even Windows 8 was still in its infant stages back then.
This
like, I mean,
E3, Windows 8 has been out for over a year, man.
I know, but that's the whole thing. Like, is it perfect? No, they had to re-release it. It's the same thing with Vista. How long did it take them to make it good?
Surge Pack 1 for Vista.
And what is Windows 7? It's just a glorified special Vista that actually took out all the problems with Vista.
It's what Vista was originally supposed to be, because if we're gonna...
Exactly.
It was fixed.
Just to quickly put this, again, going back to my buddy who used to work at Microsoft, from what he told me, the reason Vista was so bad is because they wanted to push it out, so they patched holes in the code with XP code. So basically they were using, like, 7-year-old code by that point to basically complete the OS so that they could release it before Apple got to the punch with their new OS, or whatever it was, trying to be competitive. And that's why Vista suffered, because one, it was using a mix of new and old architecture, which wasn't really a smart idea, and two, nobody had drivers ready for it because nobody had time to develop.
To me, it feels like these consoles seemed just a tad rushed to, get out there for the holiday season and stuff, which...
Pushing too hard.
Which initially there have been reports of, like, problems, like with the PS4, there's been issues with, like, the HDMI port not working, and it's something with, like, a blue light or something like that, and it not being past the boot up. Sony actually released an official failure rate or at least they brought up the failure rate for the PS4 to like 0.4%, which may not sound a lot, but that's still like thousands of PS4s that they said their initial like 5 million that they're shipping are like faulty. And then not to mention the fact that the Xbox One has had there's been like YouTube videos and stuff of like people of like the disk drive not working, and they had to like get it replaced.
I was actually
we've had a couple people bring in their PS4s saying that the disk reading was an issue, but we're like, well, we can't replace it because we don't have any extra copies. Right. You're gonna have to talk to Sony, and then everybody's spending extra $60 shipping their console back. But then, of course, Sony's not gonna get them their console. So I haven't heard anything that much about Xbox, but there's been a lot of people that have been destroying them on the internet as well.
Well, that's kind of to be expected that they would do something like that.
And that always comes out to the point that, oh, why do you think this is not working? Did you like throw it into your back trunk? Did you shake it? There's all these extra things. Like, if someone brings in a PS4 with a hammer mark on it, I'm not gonna be that... Like, I'm just like, oh, of course it's not working. You hit it with a hammer.
It's just, getting back to talking about this, I've heard more about problems with the Xbox One than I have with the PS4. Just specifically, I've heard stuff like people when after they do the big update that has to do, like buttons on the controller don't work. Like the A button won't work, for example. It seems to be the most common one I hear. I also hear like, and it's something that's a minor thing because after a reboot, it usually fixes it. But I've also heard things like it not being able to boot up the full OS, and they'd have to reboot the machine several times to get the full OS to open up.
It sounds a lot like me with Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition, but going on.
Like the main issues I'm hearing is basically controllers for some reason not responding to the OS, and the OS having launch issues. But these are new things. Like I'm just hearing about this week about them. So
plus some console launches usually have like issues that pop up now and then anyway.
Yeah, like it's not like everybody's getting it. Like out of the millions that they've stole the PS4, only a handful, maybe 100 to, I could say 1,000 maybe have small defects where others are just perfectly fine. But we only hear about the defective ones, and everybody makes a stink about it, even though, like I had my original 360 from not launch day, but maybe about 3 months after its launch, and it only crapped out about a year and a half ago. And that's just how it was.
I think because of how overblown or overwhelming the Red Ring of Death problem was last generation 60, and the white light of death popping up like midway with the PS3. I think people are starting to say if there's a problem with the PS4 or the Xbox One, they're clamoring to it because they don't want another red ring.
Yeah.
Something the Wii U doesn't seem to have a problem with.
But it had its problem when it first came out, is its OS was slow as balls. Like, you actually had to update it to actually have it actually run at a proper pace. And then I even had a personal problem with it where I had to bring my Wii U into my bedroom where my router is. I had to put the router on top of it so it could at least register the wireless signal.
Yeah, there was a problem with, I've had a couple problems with my Wii U as well. The first one was, it's when I ever use the YouTube, sometimes when I use the YouTube app, or sometimes when I play Monster Hunter Online, it'll freeze. Like, it'll just freeze for no reason. Like, if I go to the menu on YouTube and I want to search a video, it'll get stuck and hang on the search button on YouTube, and then I'd have to restart it manually. The only other problem I had was there's a common, and this wasn't just me, I looked it up, there's a common internet issue where randomly, when you turn it on, the internet will stop working. And I tried, changing my DNS settings, I tried doing all this stuff, still couldn't get the thing to work for like a week. I then find out that a week later, when I turned it on, there was a change in the terms of service that never populated for me, and it wouldn't let me connect to the internet because I hadn't agreed to the terms of service thing. So, after an update, it suddenly showed up, so then I was able to connect again. So, I don't know if there was just some weird issue with an update, and that's why that happened, but the Wii U has had problems, but they've been very minor compared to...
But even these are still falling under the realm of being minor right now.
Yeah, I mean, I never really encountered any of those problems with my Wii U, so...
It comes down to those individual things, and I'm not gonna cry wolf just yet. There's no reason to cry wolf that they released it too fast or they don't care or whatever, because the things just came out. Like the Xbox One just came out on freaking Friday of this recording, but it's like that's it. Like we'll see in the next couple of months. That's when we should really be discussing if there's really real big problems.
I think we should end off this long discussion on the next generation with the next generation is now in complete full swing. The Wii U's been out for a year, and the two new consoles just came out, and let's see how things go. The Wii U is now getting its big titles, and the hype of the PS4 and the Xbox One is here. Let's see what happens this new console generation. It's an exciting time to be a gamer.
Again.
And with that, let's go over to viewer questions. And I have to do this because Scott's not here. Our only question's from Akago!
Akago.
And his question is, what are some of your favorite games from genres that you usually don't enjoy?
I got one.
I got one as well, but Wiz, you go ahead first.
Okay, let's see. What are some of your favorite games from genres that you don't usually enjoy? Well, I don't usually enjoy fighting games, but I do like Killer Instincts. And my other choice was the Gundam Seed Destiny game on Game Boy Advance, which was... Yeah, that was a fighting game, and I liked it.
Okay. Anything else from you?
No. I usually like most games except for sports games.
Right. The two genres I don't really like that much about... Actually, there's a couple that I have games that I like. In first of all, the big ones, first-person shooters. There's not too many I like, but I do like... excluding older FPSs, I do like Duke Nukem Forever, and I do like Killing Floor. Those are two FPSs that I would play pretty much any time I get a chance. I also like, surprisingly, I like World at War. That's probably the last time I cared about Call of Duty, ever.
Yeah, I really like that one. I really like that one too.
Nazi zombies.
Nazi Zombies is pretty fun. And then the other genre that I can think of is, I have yet to find an RTS that I really like, but...
try World of Warcraft 3, because that was the one I got into, and I liked it. I wasn't the StarCraft guy.
Warcraft 3, I think... I've played Warcraft 3 before. That was a while ago. And I think it was okay. What was the other one I was going to say? Oh, sports games. I've recently got into the NHL 2K. Sports games are really fun because you can play, especially playing 4-player hockey. It sounds weird, but it's 2 people on one team, and it's fun because you can either be a dick, like in Mario Party, and screw your friend, or you can just pass the entire time, Basically, you can be a jerk the entire time you play the NHL 2K games. But I'm not, again, a big sports guy, but as a hockey game, like NHL, I think 2K11 is what my brother bought. I can't remember which one he bought, but it's really fun. And I'm not normally a hockey or sports game guy, unless you're talking older sports games like Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey or
Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey.
NHL 2001, like just random ones, or NHL 93, stuff like that.
Why does broken?
But the NHL 2K games, pretty freaking fun. I'm just gonna say. CJ, any games in a genre you don't like that you like?
Well, I'm not a big driving game fan at all. I don't really like driving games all that much, but I always liked the Burnout games. I always thought the Burnout games were really, really fun. And Need for Speed at some points is actually pretty fun. Like the most recent one is actually pretty sweet. Simulation games are hit or miss, but as it was mentioned earlier in the podcast, if you're still listening, I adore Harvest Moon, but I really don't like The Sims or anything else like that.
Right.
And for sports games, I don't play a lot of sports games either, but I have this thing for Tiger Woods golf games. I don't know why. I like it.
Well, I'm a Golden Tee guy myself.
Like, I mean, I got Mario Golf for the Game Boy Color, and it's just like, this is an awesome golf game. Golfing.
For the Game Boy Color.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's the one that integrates with the N64 game.
Oh, cool.
Where you're able to
use the transfer pack.
Yeah, it's one of the only other games that use the transfer pack.
That and like Pokemon and Perfect Dark Zero, or Perfect Dark. I mean, Zero's after. As for me, I don't really play MMORPGs really, mostly because I kind of lose interest after a while whenever I try one. But with Phantasy Star Online, I really liked that. I played the one on the GameCube, and even though I didn't even have like I actually got it afterwards, and I didn't even have like the It's actually one of the like 2 GameCube games you can actually play online if you get the modem adapter for it.
Oh
for
yeah, it
GameCube.
had internet.
Yeah, but I just played it single player, but I still enjoyed it. So in terms of like an MMO or the closest thing to an MMO, I like Phantasy Star. Another thing is with shoot 'em ups, I'm not that great at, but there's still a few that I really enjoy and like. There's Musha for the Genesis. That's a really good game. There's like a bunch of other shoot 'em ups like for the TurboGrafx 16 and Super Nintendo that I think are pretty good, even if I can't really get that far into them, at least not yet. But I'm pretty sure with some practice I can at least get decent at them. But that's really about it for me.
And
Sorry?
yeah, one other thing, I don't know if you guys like it, but like what's your idea about puzzle games? Like, I don't really like puzzle games all that much, but like Puzzle Quest was really freaking sweet.
Do you count Professor Layton?
Yeah, that could definitely be.
Yeah, it depends, but usually I like it. And what about the Zelda games? Because those also have puzzle elements to it.
But they're still technically role-playing games.
I mean,
Well, they're more of adventure games.
I like
Yeah.
enough puzzle games to say it's a genre I like. Like, I'm not haggling for puzzle games, but it's a genre that
Yeah.
I have enough games that I like in it that I say that it's a genre that I'll play. Like Bejeweled 3, that's on everything now. Like, I love Bejeweled 3. And Pokemon Puzzle League's a huge one. Kirby's Avalanche, aka Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Bean Machine.
That's a good one. Like, there's enough puzzle games for me to say this is a genre that I enjoy, but I don't actively try to find too many puzzle games.
Or need more.
It's not really a genre that I'm hardcore about, but I play if I really want to play a puzzle game, I'll play a puzzle game. Basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the strategy elements of the puzzle game, like if I'm just burnt out on like strategy RPGs, I'll play a puzzle game instead, because then I can still have that strategy element, but not have to deal with all the variables.
Yeah.
So, alright, so if you want to ask us questions for the next podcast or future podcasts, you can ask us questions on our Facebook page. You can leave a comment on the YouTube comment section. You can leave a comment on the River City Gamers site, even though the comment section is kind of crappy, but I'm looking into fixing that. Don't get ahead of me. Okay, and so the last section of our podcast here is video updates, and I'm going to go ahead and start with this one.
Right ahead.
Video updates. I have something special for December planned. I've already started working on it, and it's not going to be anything big, but something special for that planned. And I'm glad you're here, CJ, because I'm going to finally get back to work on Tough Enough, and I'm going to talk to you about the voiceover for that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which I'll discuss with you at another time, because I'm still working at the kinks on that. But Tough Enough, I'm going to get back to working on that. I have a couple of games for Quick Hunts coming up, because those reviews are really easy for me to make, and I think I'm going to hold off on Henshin Time until the new year, because I'm really focused on Quick Hunt stuff right now and getting Tough Enough done, so that stuff's going to be just held off. But I mean, I've got enough content for pretty much filmed of Henshin Time that I don't have to worry about it, so that's in the works there. But basically, I'm also getting ready for the reviews for next year. Basically, my review resolution, I guess, for next year is to get through my requests. So, some people in here already know some of the games that I'm going to be reviewing. But I'll maybe make a list, or at least my own personal list of games that I need to get through. So that's what's going on with me. Blondie, you have a new game review coming out, possibly? Yes.
Yes, I do. In fact, right now I'm actually editing the next video, which should be out soon. So it could be out before or shortly after this podcast comes out. Whenever this podcast comes out. I actually mentioned it before. It's Skull Monkeys, which is a
sequel.
PlayStation sequel of Neverhood. So there's that to look forward to. In terms of what's coming out afterwards, there's there's more Black Sheep Game Reviews, of course, and I might actually get started on a retrospective on a series I actually do want to cover, although it's a pretty long and involved series, but I might still try anyway. Because, and a good thing about all this is that, and with Skull Monkeys too, is that I now also have an HD PVR, so I can record HD footage now too. So that helps out with my recording there. And so with that, I'm all set to make more videos, and so that's about it.
Hey, Wiz?
Well, as for video reviews, I have stuff written out, I just haven't gotten around to recording it. I think I said this last time too. And, I need to find the time for them. But in the meantime, if you all know, I have an LP channel, a dedicated one, where every day there's a video of games I'm playing that keeps getting uploaded, and that's the thing that I have time for. I do want to try and get something out at the end of this month before it becomes irrelevant, but don't quite hold your breath for the review videos, but go check out the LP channel. Plus there's that prize thing I was talking about. You know that one, right, Zero?
Right, yeah, you're giving it a prize once you hit a certain amount of subs for that channel.
Yes, I mentioned in one of the videos, and I'll mention it here for those of you who pay attention to this. When it reaches 100, the prize will be given out.
Will it be at random, or will it be whoever's number 100?
That's a thought, but I think I'll go off the random thing. And I have an idea of how to do this instead of just randomizing on like one person and then just being, oh, it's over, go home. I have a different idea to pick people, so...
Okay. And with also something I forgot to mention, there's our other crossover, but you said you're not going to be looking at it for a while, so...
Oh yeah, especially, certain footage, like on a portable something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should get around to that, but don't worry, I will. I will get around to that, but for, like, my own stuff, it's just... it's so much piling on me.
Right. So, that leaves... CJ.
Well, I have a couple of things that I've been working on, but it's, that's in quotation marks. I haven't had a lot of time to really sit down and write something completely concrete. My first episode of Plot Twist, which I talked about a little bit last time I was here, that is actually making quite a few strides, but I sort of hit a drought for it for a little while, so it's probably not going to be my first video that's going to come out. I had a random inspiration in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep at one time, and I wrote a top 10 list that I know it sounds cliche to start with a top 10, but it's a lot easier to write. I just need to capture footage for it now.
Whatever gets your feet wet, man. Like
exactly, like it's just I need to just get something out there, and I'm not going to do anything like special or unique with it. I'm just going to give like a nice proper top 10 list. And then that will tie me over for actually concentrating on my actual plot twist. The actual thing I want to work on is stories in video games and how they are important and how some of them could either benefit or are just perfect the way they are, So I'm really excited for it. I've got about half of that written. And of course, like Wizwar, I am a Let's Player. I just started up a Legend of Zelda Link to the Past Let's Play for 16-Bit Winter, which Zero neglected to mention during his...
Right, I should probably talk about that. 16-Bit Winter's a thing, if you want.
Oh yeah, 16-Bit Winter, and I don't think I'll ever want to do another one again.
Yeah. But, it's just something that Zero hosted, what was it, 2 years ago? It wasn't last year.
It was like 2011. What's the last one?
Yeah. And what it is we just play some of the most iconic 16-bit games that we really loved back in that generation.
It's really just to get everybody to play 16-bit games, especially because there's a lot of... I remember when I did it in 2011, there were some people who joined up who had never played games older than the Nintendo 64. So it gave them a chance to explore these games that, we talk about all the time, but some people have never played. So it's basically just to get people to play games, basically.
Yeah. And the other game that I've recorded the first 4 parts for, I did that today, is I'm playing Hotel Mario for it. For the CDI. I got my CDI working. I got a controller for it. And you know what? It's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Oh, that's what most people say. It's not as bad, but it's definitely not.
It's hard. It's hard. It's a puzzle game rather than anything else. They put stuff on the screen because they're like, well, we can't make this any more difficult than closing doors. So let's just put tons of crap on the screen.
Is it 100% speed run?
Oh yeah. No, not speed
100% run.
It's 100% run. I'm going through all the castles. I'm doing all the side stuff, and don't worry, all toasters will toast.
It's. I was gonna say, going back to the everything on screen, overload of information.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I should mention that I'm also doing some games for 16-bit Winter too. But yeah.
So. With that, I'd say that's the podcast. So, hopefully next time SCR will be back in the saddle. We'll see. If not, I can always jump up to assist again. But I want to thank everybody for coming out for this.
Listening to this.
CJ. And I want to thank you, the listeners, and please give us your questions for next time in the various ways we said. I know this one's a long one, and I'm going to have to sit through editing it, but you know what? It's been a fun ride. So, for the River City Gamers Podcast, I'm Zermaster. I'm
Blanca Gamer.
Women in Yoga commercial, Wizwar.
Canadian Jutsu.
And we'll see you next time. Let's... I'm going to go play some Wii U.
Stay tuned.
Stay frosty.
Stay.